Hola muchachos, ¿qué tal? Buenos días. Hoy es lunes el 28 de septiembre o martes el 29 de septiembre. El horario para hoy vamos a empezar con la tarea. Todavía necesitamos esperar para repasar el examen del primer capítulo 1A. Pero vamos a repasar los ejercicios 4, 7 y 11 en las páginas 22 hasta 26, ejercicio 4, 7 y 11. En las páginas 22 a 26 fue la tarea para hoy. Después discutiremos la gramática repaso. Stem changing verbs en el presente. Aquí tienen un video. How to use stem changing verbs in Spanish. You can watch that to walk you guys through the grammar. Talks about the three parts to a verb in Spanish: infinitive, ending, and stem. And that these verbs have a stem change when we conjugate them. The spelling in the stem, vowels change. And you can click here for more detailed explanation and examples of those stem changing verbs, and another video there for you guys to watch if you so choose. Back on page 27, la página 27, that's what the Canvas page I just shared with you refers to. You can see an explanation there as well of the grammar and examples. We also call these boot verbs in Spanish. That 4 of the 5 forms, 4 of the 5 subjects you can see have a stem change here. O changing to UE in the stem of poder, E changing to IE in the stem of empezar, or the E to an I in the stem of pedir. But you can see the nosotros and vosotros forms for all stem changing verbs does not change. Right? Stem changing verbs have a spelling change in their stem in all forms, yo, tú, él, ella, usted, etc. Have a spelling change in their stem in all forms except for the nosotros and then vosotros, but again, we're not really covering that for the reasons we've already mentioned, mainly used in Spain. So after we look at these grammar notes, we're going to do a guided practice, ejercicio 14, where not only do you need to choose the correct verb, the appropriate verb, but you need to conjugate it in the correct form, right? So appropriate verb in the correct form, we'll do that. And then we'll start off with your homework, which is a bit of a game. Go back in the calendar real quick. Actually, okay, so if we look up the agenda, you can see here right after the guided practice, we have your homework. Click on that. It's a dice roll game. 2 things you're going to need to play this game. You're going to need this worksheet, which you can print out or you can refer to. It's up to you. Click on that. Takes you to the PDF copy of the handout. Then you also need an online dice roller. Or if you have a pair of die, you know, from a board game or what have you. I think it's easy enough just to use the online version. So I got the 2 things that I need pulled up, and let's see how to play. So the objective of this game is to practice the grammar of those stem changing verbs in Spanish, conjugating correctly the following verbs in the correct person and form. So step 1, there are 4 steps in this process to play the game. First step is to roll the dice. All right, and the first roll, 1 through 6, is going to give you the subject. Remember, the objective is to correctly conjugate the verbs in the correct person or form. When we say person or form, we're referring to these, what we call subject pronouns. So the first thing you need to do is roll the dice once to get your subject. So we'll go to our online roller here, we'll roll, and we got a 1. So our subject is yo. Right? Whatever number you roll, that will indicate the subject you use. For example, try again, roll a 4. My subject would be nosotros. So whatever number you roll, that's your subject. And then you roll the dice a second time And the second roll will give you your verb. Which verb am I going to conjugate in the yo form? Yo is what I rolled, right? A 1. Let's roll it again, see what we got. All right, 5. That is the verb querer. So I need to conjugate the verb querer in the yo form, right? That's step 3. Conjugate the verb to match the subject. The verb that I rolled was querer. The subject that I rolled was yo. So in the sentence here, roll 1 was 1, roll 2 was 5, and the verb that I'm using is querer in the yo form. And so I'm going to go back to my grammar notes. Querer is like empezar, where the E changes to IE. And so that would be yo quiero, Q-U-I-E-R-O, yo quiero, I want, right? And then the last step, right, step 3 was to conjugate the verb. I did that. Yo quiero, dropping off the ER, putting on the O, doing the stem change where the E changes to an IE, right? So that's how I got to yo quiero, and then I need to use the verb in the sentence. Yo quiero pizza para almuerzo. I want pizza for lunch, right? Yo quiero is I want, so you can make any easy sentence there, however elaborate, then you're going to write that here for your sentence. So I have yo, my subject, querer, my verb, quiero, the conjugated verb, and then the conjugated verb in a sentence. Yo quiero pizza para almuerzo. And you're going to do that for 10 verbs, 10 times, if you will. And a reminder, we're not using these verbs here. You'll notice that the verbs in your sheet are different from the instructions. So please make sure that you're using these lists of verbs. These are all stem changing verbs. And you do not need to translate the sentence into English. I'll say that again. This part here that says translate, you do not need to do that. Just step 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you're going to do 10 of those. And you guys can print out this worksheet, scan it, take pictures of it, and then upload it to Canvas. You can write it in to Canvas in a text box entry. You can do a Google Doc and send me the URL. However y'all want to go about it, you can type it up in a Word document and upload the file. It's up to you, but this is due next class.